Today we will talk about Trieste, a city that has a long history and was free like other cities like Danzig. We will go through the development and the prehistory of the free territory of Trieste. The free territory of Trieste was under the rule of Austria-Hungary before 1918. It was the most important port in the region of the Austrian littoral. Istria, already occupied by the Kingdom of Italy in 1918, was formally annexed along with Trieste and parts of present-day Slovenia in 1921. In 1925, the port city of Fiume, which today belongs to Croatia, followed Kaljona and Dalmatia, were largely absorbed into the newly formed Kingdom of Yugoslavia. With the partition of the former Austro-Hungarian territories under Italy in the state of the Slovenes, Croats and Serbs, in short the SRS state, a profound Italianization and Slavization began under the government of Mussolini and Karađorđević. The respective linguistic minorities in their culture were massively suppressed and discriminated against by Italians and Yugoslavs in the 1920s and 30s. This mainly affected the Slavic-speaking population in Kast, the Italian in Dalmatia, and the German-speaking minorities in Marburg and Tekoce. There were repeated violent anti-Slavic riots and anti-German and anti-Italian riots in the SRS state. For example, on 30th of July 1920, 1 year before the formal annexation of the area, the house of a Slovene association, Narodni Dom, in Trieste, was burnt down in retaliation after 2 Italian sailors were shot dead by Yugoslav security forces during riots in the Dalmatian port city of Split, which belonged to the SRS state. Many Slovenes and Croats emigrated to Yugoslavia, where others became involved in the terrorist organization TEGR, which carried out over 100 terrorist attacks in the 1920s and 30s. Italian and German-speaking residents also emigrated to escape discrimination. During World War II, Italy fought alongside Germany until the collapse of the fascist regime in 1943. We all know it. Trieste was then occupied by the Wehrmacht and later liberated by Yugoslavia. After the Paris Peace Conference in 1946, it was decided to create the International Territory of Trieste. The 3 official languages, Italian, Slovenian and Croatian, were established by the authority, and the territory remained disputed. On January 10, 1947, the United Nations Security Council in Resolution 16 decided to establish the free territory of Trieste. The date of the founding of the state was still open. On February 10, 1947, a peace treaty with the new Italian Republic was signed in Paris by the Allies, providing the founding of the free territory on September 15, 1947. The territory was to exist as a neutral state under the protection of the UN and was divided into 2 zones, Zone A and Zone B. Zone A was controlled by the British and US American soldiers. The controlled zone included mainly Trieste, which was governed by Terence Sidney Airy from 1947 to 1951, and John Winterton from 1951 to 1954. Zone B was controlled by the Yugoslav People's Army that included the territory of Northwest Istria, which was governed by Mirko Lenast from 1947 to 1951 and Milos Stamatovic from 1951 to 1954. There was also the free port of Trieste. On September 15, 1947, the day the Italian Allied Peace Treaty came into force, the free territory of Trieste, under Terence Sidney Airy, British governor of Zone A, proclaimed the Proclamation No. 1 as solemn military ceremony was held for the founding of the state. And celebrations took place everywhere in the new state. On the same day, the provisional statute, officially deed of provisional government of the free territory of Trieste, put into force the provisional constitution of the territory. Afterward, a comprehensive consolidation of the state took place. Switzerland, with its directorial system, served as a structural model. Between 1947 and 1948, Trieste gained its currency, the Triestian lira. State symbols, flag, coat of arms, and the national anthem, Inno di San Giusto, postal and banking system, postal stamps, car license plates, and many more. However, the process faced challenges when the Soviet Union rejected proposed candidates for governor between 1947 and March 1948. Unable to agree on the governor, the military commanders of the zones, Terence Sidney Airy from the Zone A and Mirko Lenas from the Zone B, assumed the role of provisional administration until a governor was appointed by the UN Security Council. This arrangement lasted until the territory dissolution in 1954. With the onset of the Cold War, a new, renewed wave of nationalist demands emerged, urging the return of the Free State and the rest of Istria to Italy. These lands has been compared to cede in 1946, leading to heightened tensions between the British US administration, who supported Italy, and the Yugoslav administration, who had previously received ideological backing from the Soviet Union, until Tito's break with Stalin in 1948. Following the split with Stalin, Tito pursued a policy of annexing the entire territory into the Yugoslav state. Yugoslavia's governor, Mirko Lenas, played a pivotal role during this period by demanding more rights for Zone B and refusing to grant further power to what appeared to be a Western-dominated decentralized unitary state. Consequently, these actions put an end to efforts aimed at creating a unitary state. Decentralization and instability. In Trieste, there were also some situations that showed the instability, such as in June 1949, when elections were held in Trieste. They were called by the People's Assembly in agreement with the British military commander Terence Sidney Airy. Although the entire population was supposed to take part, the elections were only held in Zone A. The conservative pro-Italian Democrazia Cristiana emerged victorious with 39%. The Communist Party in Trieste, which also had already taken power in Zone B and was financially supported by Yugoslavia, received over 21%. The results of the elections reflect the internal instability of the territory. No government could be formed because the various parties refused to cooperate with each other on the basis of their ideologies and program. The Christian Democrats did not want to cooperate with the Communist Party. The Republicans refused to cooperate with the monarchists, who wanted a re-establishment of the Kingdom of Italy under the House of Savoy, or at least demand the creation of a new Trieste monarchy. The three great successes of the monarchists in the territory were the installation of the Marcia Reale Royal March as a short-lived national anthem in 1947, and the monetary system proposed and adopted by the two occupying powers, with the coins and notes of the former kingdoms of Yugoslavia in Italy in 1948. The elections in 1949, which were largely symbolic and politically inconclusive, which led to an administrative losing of the previous center state, the British, US, and Yugoslav military administrations endowed the civilian governments of the two zones. With more and more powers, power of the People's Assembly on the other hand was eroded. The introduction of the two different nationality signs, TS for Zone A and STT for Zone B, was a culmination and federalization. There was also an internal division economically, after the civilian government of Zone A decided to recognize the lira of the Republic of Italy as an equivalent currency alongside the Trieste lira, whose coins and notes still dated from the time of the Kingdom of Italy. The Yugoslav military administration approved the introduction of the Yugoslav dinar as a second currency for Zone B. Thus, the territory had three currencies, only one of which was valid throughout the national territory. The end. After the Allies had not been able to agree on the nomination of a governor by the UN Security Council, even 7 years after the founding of the territory, and the eternal zonal division of the territory had become increasingly entrenched against the background of the Cold War, the failure of the attempt to create a multi-ethnic state of Trieste became apparent. Without a common governor, a unified administration independent of the Republican powers could not be established. This was finally recognized by the Allies. They ended the Trieste experiment. On the 5th of October 1944, a memorandum was signed in London by the governments of Italy, Great Britain, the US and Yugoslavia, with which the civil administration in Zone A was provisionally handed over to Italy and in Zone B to Yugoslavia. There was only minor border changes. Italy asserted the continuation of Trieste as a free port in accordance with the provision of the Peace Treaty. The memorandum was also accepted by the UN Security Council, with the transfer of administration in Zone A to Italy by the Allied military government on the 26th of October 1954. Trieste, administered by Britain and the US, ceased to exist on October the 27th, 1954. An Italian decree established an Italian Commissioner General for Trieste. The territory of the former Free Territory of Trieste was finally divided between Italy and Yugoslavia only on the 10th of October 1975 with the Treaty of Osimo. For such a small area, it has a rich history with diverse influences from many nations and cultures around the area. If you have any tips, post them in the comments, and see you next time.